Governor Snyder signs ag-friendly water use bills into law.
Science and what the best water science for a local area is, that's what should rule the day, and that's why this is a good thing.
Research shows implementing certain management strategies will increase wheat yields. And Michigan Agricultural Commodities' Betz will join us with a market update. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
Governor Rick Snyder signed into law this week legislation making science-based improvements to the state's large quantity water withdrawal program. Supported by Farm Bureau, the bill addresses concerns with the site-specific review process used to determine if a new water withdrawal will cause an adverse resource impact. The changes will make water registrations less expensive and time-consuming for farmers.
This bill lets data be the ruler of the process much more than it is today for site-specific review, for putting in high-capacity water withdrawal. For farmers who are putting in wells in the future, hopefully data and science can be a bigger part of the process than the DEQ's subjectivity.
I've got a commercial greenhouse operation up in Gratiot County. We're looking to expand that operation in the coming years. What this bill does is provide certainty to me that I know exactly what I need to do if I'm going to put a new well in. It gives me the certainty to know what scientific process will be used to review that application. And it also provides a timeline so that I know that my application to be able to expand that well, which my entire operation will be dependent upon, will be reviewed in a timely manner.
None of this could be done without the members' involvement. This starts at the growers level, at the grassroots level, we always say. So those are the individuals that are impacted the most, that are using that water. And then they found an avenue within Farm Bureau to take this concern forward. It used our legislative process. It used our Friends of Agricultural designations that we put out there for our endorsements of candidates. It's a process that we followed all the way through, and it all started, though, back with the members.
Close to 200 farmers were on hand for this year's Michigan Wheat Program Summer Field Day. The annual field day was an opportunity for growers to see research results up close and to speak directly with researchers about how to apply those results on their farms. Specifically, growers learned several strategies to increase wheat yields.
So one of the big things with regarding wheat production that you want to pay attention to is your soil test phosphorus levels. So fall prior to wheat planting is a great time to soil sample, and you want to know what that critical level of soil test phosphorus is for the specific crop that you're growing. For instance, for wheat production, 25 parts per million is the critical level for optimal wheat production. When you're below 25 parts per million, you will be deficient. When you're above 25 parts per million, you're sufficient. So that's a great starting point with regards to protecting both the environment and promoting grain yield. It's a great starting point with regards to those starter nutrient applications. Is a phosphorus application justified or is it not? Planting date is a primary component with regards to optimal wheat production. Our studies have shown with about a mid to late September planting date, you can have upwards of 30 to 35 bushel to the acre differences with that planting date as compared to a early or mid or late October planting date. And planting date is something that you don't necessarily have to buy in a jug. The farmer or the grower can be in control of that as long as that rotation is optimized to facilitate a timely wheat planting. One of the benefits of including wheat in a crop rotation, such as a corn-soybean rotation, is studies have found when you put wheat into a corn-soybean rotation, you can actually increase corn grain yield by about up to 15 bushels to the acre. So it's one of those things you want to look at, trying to optimize a 3-year rotation rather than focusing on individual returns in an individual growing season.
The Michigan Soybean Promotion Committee is devoted to investing soybean farmer checkoff dollars to address grower concerns. We focus our efforts on production research, market development, and outreach. Learn more at michigansoybean.org.
A new zoning order has been created to protect the cattle industry from the spread of bovine TB. In response to an uptick in the number of bovine TB positive deer in Michigan's northeastern Lower Peninsula, the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development, with the support of the Department of Natural Resources, created the Enhanced Wildlife Biosecurity Area, which is located in the core of the Modified Accredited Zone. In this area, farmers will work with a team of experts to create customized wildlife biosecurity plans based on identified risk factors on their farms. In addition to that, there will be an increased effort to remove deer who have taken residence on farms and to prevent deer from doing so in the future. To sell cattle outside of slaughter channels, cattle producers in the Enhanced Wildlife Biosecurity Area will now be required to participate in those efforts. MDART hopes these efforts will protect the cattle industry and prevent a downgrade in status by the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Are they an employee or an independent contractor? It is an important distinction to make when hiring. Read attorney Deanna Swisher's article in the Foster Swift Agricultural Law News to learn more about the difference.
Michigan's dairy herd is getting smaller. The herd was estimated at 423,000 head for May, down 4,000 head from last year, according to USDA NASS. Dairy herds in Michigan produced 986 million pounds of milk during May, down 0.3% from a year ago. With a look at the latest market activity, here is Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Betz.
Thanks, Janelle. Trade has calmed down from the latest round of U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods earlier this week. The administration has now proposed tariffs on an estimated $450 billion worth of Chinese goods. This, close to the $505.6 billion worth of Chinese goods imported to the U.S. last year. Trade will be wary of new headlines in regards to trade relations between the U.S. and not only China, but Canada and Mexico as well, all of which have been contentious up to this point. Beans have been worse for wear, sliding to almost 10-year lows Tuesday. Corn followed soybeans lower, but are well off last year's lows. Wheat was also weighed by spillover pressure, but dry Black Sea conditions have been supportive, leaving long-term upward trends in place. Expect lackluster trade in the near term, as non-threatening Midwest weather will lend pressure on top of negative trade talk. Any fresh news with negotiations will cause volatility. For more market information, go to michag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betz.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com and the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.